The Galaxy Council had seen many strange things in its long history, but nothing like this. Every screen, every channel, every transmission in the Council's network showed the same short message from Earth. All negotiations are terminated. Humanity withdraws from the Council. The message was clear, cold and final. Inside the Great Hall of the Council, hundreds of alien leaders sat in silence. The air was heavy with fear and confusion. Some whispered to each other, while others simply stared at the glowing words on the central holoscreen. Councillor Zathra of the Vorn was the first to speak. "This must be a mistake," she said, her mandibles shaking. "Humans are unpredictable, but they would never walk away from the Council." Admiral Terran of the Dravik Union stood tall, his scales shining under the blue light. "You underestimate them," he said. "Humans always act calm until the day they stop talking. When that day comes, something dangerous follows." The room fell quiet again. Every being there knew what Kieran meant. The humans had a strange pattern. They argued, they warned, they smiled. But when they went silent, it was never peace. It was preparation. An aide rushed into the hall, carrying a glowing tablet. "New reports," he shouted. "All human embassies have closed. Their diplomats are leaving every council world. They're cutting all communication links." "What about their fleets?" the Chancellor asked, his crystal-like body reflecting the room's panic. "They're gone," the aide answered. "No signal, no movement, nothing. They've vanished." A low hiss spread through the chamber. Vanished? Entire fleets of human warships disappearing without a trace? Impossible. Councillor Theon, the oldest member of the council, closed his eyes. His deep voice echoed softly. "I have seen this before," he said. "When humans stop answering, it means they are planning something. They do not forgive easily." Everyone remembered the Orion trade war, the time when the Council tried to force Earth to pay unfair taxes. The humans smiled, agreed to new terms, and 6 months later their fleets appeared in orbit around the Council's core worlds, ready for battle. The war ended in a single day. Humanity had won without firing a single shot. Now it seemed history was repeating itself. The Chancellor looked around the room. "We cannot allow them to isolate," he said. "If humans are preparing for war, we must unite before it's too late." But no one moved. Every empire in the Council had its own fear, its own memory of how dangerous humans could be. Suddenly the holoscreen changed. The symbol of Earth appeared again, blue and white, then slowly turned black. A single line of text appeared below it. "Do not follow us." The words froze every being in place. "Do not follow?" whispered Zathra. "What does that mean?" Admiral Karen's voice was low. "It means they are warning us, and humans never warn twice." The hall filled with noise, arguments, panic, orders, but the Chancellor remained silent. He knew this was no bluff. The humans had been patient, too patient. Now they had decided to act. Outside the chamber, thousands of communication channels tried to contact Earth. None succeeded. The planet was quiet, completely dark to the galactic network. For the first time in centuries, the mighty Council felt small, powerless against the silence of one small blue world. The Chancellor stared at the fading image of Earth and whispered, "When humans stop talking, the stars will remember this day." Far away, beyond the edge of known space, hidden ships moved quietly in the dark. And in that silence, humanity was watching. Humanity was waiting. Days passed after Earth's final message, but the silence only grew heavier. The Galaxy Council had sent hundreds of probes and listening satellites toward human space. None returned. It was as if a great wall of emptiness had surrounded the solar system itself. In the Council's war chamber, holograms showed blinking red zones, places where human colonies once existed. Now, every light was dark. Admiral Karen slammed his clawed hand on the table. "You see this? Entire sectors gone quiet. They didn't just leave. They erased themselves." Councillor Zathra shook her head. "But why would they do that? The humans had everything. Trade, allies, technology. Karen looked around. Maybe they got tired of being controlled. We pushed them too far. The Chancellor's crystal form glowed softly. We need proof, he said. Send reconnaissance teams to the old human colonies. Find out what they're hiding. Moments later, fleets of scout ships from different empires began their journey toward human territory. Each one carried brave crews who thought they were prepared for anything. They were wrong. The first team reached Mars, the red world once filled with human settlers. The moment they entered orbit, every system on their ship failed. Lights flickered, engines stopped. "Systems down," shouted the pilot. "Something is jamming us." Through the thick storm of dust below, they could see the ruins of human cities. But strange energy signals were rising from underground. Then came a voice. It wasn't through their radio. It was inside their minds. "You were told not to follow." The crew screamed. The transmission cut off. Their ship vanished from radar. Back at the council, panic spread like fire. One after another, the reconnaissance teams disappeared. No wrecks, no escape pods, nothing. "Every ship we send is lost," reported the aide. "Whatever humans are doing, they've cloaked their systems completely." Thean, the ancient counselor, closed his eyes. "It's not a cloak," he said. "It's a trap." In the following days, rumors began spreading. Traders from the edge of human space told stories of massive dark shapes moving through the void, silent as ghosts. Ships that had no transponders, no lights, no communication. Some said they saw one of these vessels near the Vega system, a ship larger than any known design, black as night, but glowing faintly at the edges, like it was bending space around it. "Human stealth technology," whispered one commander. "They've evolved it far beyond what we imagined." Others refused to believe. "It's fear," they said. "Just panic making us see things." But fear was now part of every meeting in the council. They couldn't deny the truth. Humanity had disappeared, but their presence was still felt everywhere. Admiral Karen stood before the council again. "We need to prepare for war," he said. "Humans don't vanish for peace. They vanish for strategy." The Chancellor hesitated. War with humanity would destroy us all. Kieran's eyes burned gold. "Then perhaps destruction has already begun." That night, deep in the council archives, a secret transmission appeared. No one knew who sent it, or how it got through the system's firewalls. It contained only one video clip, a human commander sitting in a dark room staring into the camera. "We told you to leave us alone," he said calmly. "You wanted control. You wanted power. Now you will understand silence." The feed ended. No signal trace remained. The Chancellor watched the screen go black. "They are not hiding," he said slowly. "They are preparing." From that day, no one dared send another ship near human space. But even in the farthest corners of the galaxy, strange new readings appeared. Energy signatures like nothing seen before. Something was coming, something vast. And in the darkness between the stars, humanity was waiting. The Galaxy Council was falling into chaos. Every day new reports came, fleets disappearing, colonies losing contact, scanners detecting strange movements near the edge of human space. But still, no one had actually seen a human ship. Until now. A small scout vessel from the Zrath Dominion entered a quiet system near the old human border. The crew of 12 believed they were safe. The stars were calm and no signals were detected. "Nothing here," the captain said. "Just empty space." But then the lights dimmed. A cold vibration ran through the ship. One of the officers looked at the radar. "Captain," she whispered, "something's behind us." The captain turned. Through the main window they saw it, a massive shape, blacker than the void itself. No lights, no sound, only a faint ripple, like the darkness itself was bending. It's a ship," someone said. But this was no ship the Council had ever built. It was huge, larger than a dreadnought, its surface smooth and invisible to scanners. It didn't move by engines. It drifted silently as if space obeyed it. "Send a message," the captain ordered. "Identify ourselves." Before the communication could be sent, their systems shut down completely. The ship went dark. Then a voice echoed inside the cabin, not from speakers, not from radios, but directly in their minds. "You were told not to follow." The crew screamed, every display filled with static. The shadow ship turned slowly, and for a second they saw a mark, a human flag, black and silver, glowing faintly under the stars. Then the Zarath vessel vanished from all records. Back at the council, Admiral Karen slammed his claws on the table. "Now we have proof. The humans have new technology. They can hide, cloak, even cut our systems from across space." The Chancellor's crystal form dimmed. "But why remain hidden? Why not attack?" Counselor Theon, his voice old and heavy, replied, "Because they are watching us. They want us afraid." Zathra looked around nervously. "This is impossible. How can they be so advanced? They were just learning faster than light travel a few centuries ago." "They learn," Kieran said. "That's what makes them dangerous." Meanwhile, in the dark space between stars, a human fleet drifted silently. Thousands of ships moved as one, black and quiet. Inside one command ship, Captain Elena Ward stood before a large display showing the entire galaxy. "They're reacting as expected," she said calmly. "Council fleets are moving closer to our old borders." A young officer looked up. "Do we engage?" "Not yet," Elena said. "Let them fear the silence a little longer. They took from us, controlled us, lied to us. Now they will learn what silence can do." The officer hesitated. "Captain, if they come too close?" Elena's eyes were cold. "Then we remind them why humanity never needed permission to survive." Back in the council chamber, panic meetings continued day and night. The council could not agree on anything. Some wanted to form a united army. Others wanted peace talks. But how can you negotiate when no one answers? Suddenly, every communication device across the chamber flickered. A human face appeared. Captain Ward's. Calm, focused. "Council members," she said. "You were warned. Humanity no longer plays by your rules. Stay away from our worlds, and no harm will come. Cross our line, and the silence will end." Then she smiled, not angry, not cruel, just calm. The image vanished. No one spoke for a long time. Finally, Admiral Karen said, "She said the silence will end. What happens when it does?" The Chancellor turned slowly, his voice barely a whisper. "When humans break their silence," he said, "the galaxy burns." Outside, beyond the reach of the Council's sensors, the shadow ships moved again. Countless black vessels, surrounding human space like a storm waiting to be unleashed. The Galaxy Council was no longer united. Fear had turned every empire against the others. Some demanded war against the humans, while others whispered that peace was still possible. But the humans had drawn a line, and the Council could not ignore it. At the edge of human space, a faint energy barrier had appeared, a wall of light stretching across thousands of kilometers. No one knew what it was made of. It shimmered like liquid glass, glowing blue against the dark. They called it the Line in the Stars. Admiral Karen stood aboard his flagship, staring at it through the main viewport. Hundreds of council ships floated behind him, a fleet large enough to conquer galaxies. "Scanners?" he asked. "Nothing solid, sir," replied the technician. "The barrier emits energy beyond our spectrum. It's not physical. It's something else." Kieran narrowed his golden eyes. "Prepare a probe." A small drone launched forward, gliding toward the blue wall. As soon as it touched the light, it vanished, not destroyed, not exploded, simply gone. The control room fell silent. "Was that teleportation?" someone whispered. "No," said Kieran. "It was deletion." Back at the council chamber, arguments shook the hall. "This is aggression," shouted one ambassador. "They cannot close space like this." They warned us, another replied. We crossed their border. They are one planet, someone else screamed. We are thousands. But fear had already taken root. The Chancellor raised his hand. Enough. Admiral Karen, you will lead the fleet to investigate the barrier. Do not attack unless attacked first. Karen nodded. Understood. 3 days later, the fleet stood before the line again. The glowing wall was calm, peaceful, like the humans were daring them to cross. Kieran's second officer leaned closer. Sir, maybe we should wait. Kieran's voice was low. If we show fear, we lose. Humanity respects strength. Prepare one ship to test the boundary. The ship, a heavy cruiser named Vorlis, moved ahead slowly. Every camera, every sensor in the fleet watched it approach the shimmering wall. Crossing in 5 seconds, said the Vorlis captain. No resistance detected yet. Then, the light around the ship dimmed. Its engine shut down, its signal cut off. Static filled the screens. Vorlis, respond, Karen shouted. Do you read me? No reply. For a long minute there was only silence. Then, without warning, the blue wall rippled, and the Vorlis reappeared. But it wasn't the same. Its hull was blackened. Parts of it were missing, like it had been half erased. When they opened a video feed, they saw the crew. Frozen in place, eyes wide open, faces pale. No one moved. They're dead, whispered the officer. Kieran's claws tightened. No, they're not dead. He pointed to the display. They're frozen in time. Suddenly, a human voice came through the ship's radio, calm, cold. You were told not to follow. Every system in Kieran's fleet flickered. The blue wall brightened, pulsing like a heartbeat. The voice continued. You cross our line again, and you will understand what silence costs. Then the transmission ended. The Vorlis drifted slowly backward, silent and broken. Kieran stared at it, his chest tight. Pull the fleet back, he ordered quietly. Sir? They're showing restraint, Kieran said. If we stay, they won't next time. The fleet turned around. The galaxy had never felt so quiet. After the incident at the line in the stars, no council fleet dared to cross human space again. But fear only grew stronger in silence. Weeks passed. Then the strange readings began. From deep space stations, scientists reported impossible energy spikes coming from behind the line. Entire sectors showed bursts of power so massive that even stars dimmed for a few seconds. At first, the council thought it was weapon testing. But then came something far more terrifying. Gravitational waves, strong enough to shake nearby planets. What are they doing? Whispered Counselor Zathra, staring at the data. The Chancellor's crystal body glowed faintly. Building, he said. They are building something vast. In secret, a team of spies from the Council's covert branch launched small stealth probes toward human space. The probes moved silently, invisible to sensors. For days, they recorded nothing, just dark skies and dead frequencies. Then one of them sent an image. At first, no one could believe it. Floating behind the line were enormous structures, kilometers wide, glowing faintly like sleeping giants. They were ships, thousands of them, lined up in formation, powered down, but alive. Dear stars, whispered an officer. That's a fleet large enough to destroy half the galaxy. Each ship had the same dark surface as the shadow vessels seen before, absorbing all light. No windows, no markings, only a faint symbol, a single circle with a blue flame inside it. Humanity's new banner. The Chancellor called an emergency session. Representatives from every empire gathered, their voices shaking. Counselor Theon stood slowly. This is what they have been doing for decades, he said. While we argued and taxed and tried to control them, they prepared. They knew this day would come. Admiral Kieran gritted his teeth. We can't just wait. If they activate those ships, we won't survive. But if we attack first, said Zathra, we start a war we can't win. The hall exploded in noise, shouting, fear, and anger. Some demanded a preemptive strike. Others wanted surrender. But no one truly knew what humanity wanted. Then the lights flickered. Every communication device across the hall turned blue. A human voice spoke. Calm, clear, familiar. It was Captain Elena Ward. "Members of the Galaxy Council," she said. "For centuries you watched us. Controlled our worlds, decided what we could build, where we could go, and how we could fight." Her voice was quiet but sharp. "Now we have built without your permission. We have created what you feared most. Freedom." Behind her, the transmission showed something massive awakening. One of the great ships powering on, its engines burning brighter than suns. "You see them?" Elena said. "These are not weapons of conquest, they are shields. But if you cross the line again, they will become something else." The transmission ended. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Zathra whispered, "She said they are shields. Shields from what?" Admiral Karen's voice was dark. "Maybe not from what's outside the galaxy," he said. "Maybe from what's coming inside it." The Chancellor turned sharply. "What do you mean?" Kieran looked at the glowing energy readings. "They're not preparing for war against us. They're preparing for something else." That night, in the dark control room of one of the giant human ships, Captain Ward stood before a vast window. Below her, thousands of human vessels powered up slowly, their engines glowing like blue fireflies in the void. A young officer approached. "Captain, the Council is watching. They're afraid." Elena nodded. "They should be, but not of us." "Then what are we preparing for?" the officer asked softly. Elena looked out into the deep void beyond the galaxy's edge. A cold light flickered far away, something moving in the dark. "For what's coming," she said. The human fleet roared to life. One by one, the sleeping titans awakened. The galaxy slept under uneasy silence. The humans had drawn their line. Their titanic fleet floated behind a shimmering blue wall, watching, waiting. And the Galaxy Council was paralyzed by fear. But deep in the black between galaxies, something else was moving. It started as faint readings. Radiation spikes from the far edge of the void, far beyond known space. At first, scientists thought it was a dying star. Then the signals grew stronger. Rhythmic, repeating, artificial. "It's not natural," said Counselor Zathra, staring at the data. "It's a transmission." The Chancellor leaned forward. "From who?" The room fell silent. No one had an answer. 2 weeks later, a long-range probe finally reached the edge of the readings. The images it sent back froze every system it touched. An enormous shape moved among the stars, black, jagged, and alive. It wasn't a fleet. It was a swarm. Each fragment moved like an organism, consuming light, breaking apart asteroids, absorbing energy. A single message accompanied the data before the probe was destroyed. "They are coming." Admiral Karen watched the footage in silence. This can't be real," he muttered. "That thing is the size of a moon." Counselor Thean spoke softly. "They are harvesters, ancient myths, machines that feed on life. We thought they were only legends." The Chancellor turned to him. "And humans knew?" Thean nodded slowly. "I think they did. That's why they've been preparing." In human space, Captain Elena Ward stood aboard the command deck of the flagship Solar Dawn. Around her, the awakened ships of Earth's fleet glowed like stars, silent, disciplined, ready. Her second officer approached. "Captain, we've detected movement beyond the line. Unknown energy signatures, estimated arrival, 12 days. Elena's eyes narrowed. "Then it's time." "Should we inform the Council?" the officer asked. She shook her head. "They won't believe us, they never do." Meanwhile, inside the Galaxy Council chamber, panic returned. "The humans knew," shouted one ambassador. "They built weapons while we argued about trade." "They must share their technology," cried another. "They won't," said Thean. "You don't understand them. Humanity doesn't build for power. They build to survive." The Chancellor raised his hand. We have no choice. Prepare our fleets. We go to the border. Days later, the first shadow of the invaders appeared. Sensors screamed warnings across dozens of systems. Stars dimmed. Planets lost power. Space itself began to twist. From the void emerged black metallic creatures, massive winged machines with glowing cores. They moved like a plague, feeding on everything they touched. The first defense fleets opened fire, plasma, missiles, railguns, but their weapons passed through the invaders as if hitting water. Within hours, entire colonies were gone. Then came a message, not from the Council, but from humanity. The blue wall opened slightly, and a single human broadcast reached every world. This is Captain Elena Ward of Earth Command. To all species within range, the harvesters have arrived. Fall back to the line. We will hold. The Chancellor stared at the message, stunned. They're not attacking us, he whispered. They're defending us. Admiral Karen stood. Then we fight beside them. But they told us not to cross their line, said Zathra. Karen looked at her, fire in his eyes. If we don't, there won't be a galaxy left to cross. In human space, the fleet of Earth spread its wings, thousands of black ships lighting up like dawn. Their weapons hummed with power older than science, built from technology the Council had forbidden them to make. Captain Ward watched the dark horizon where the harvesters gathered. All ships, she commanded, prepare for contact, for Earth, for every world that doubted us. The stars flickered, the darkness moved, and for the first time in centuries, humanity was not silent anymore. The stars burned red on the edge of known space. The harvester swarm had arrived, their bodies blotted out the light of suns, endless metallic wings stretching across the void. Each movement consumed matter and energy, leaving behind only silence and ruin. They were not an army. They were extinction itself, and waiting before them. The human fleet. Thousands of ships floated in a single wall of blue light. Massive dreadnoughts, sleek destroyers, and dark carriers powered by reactors that shook the fabric of space. Each vessel bore the same symbol, a circle with a blue flame. Humanity's vow to never kneel again. Captain Elena Ward stood at the command bridge of the Solar Dawn. Her calm eyes reflected the storm ahead. "Status?" she asked. "All fleets in position," replied her officer. "Outer colonies are evacuating. The Council fleets, they're coming, Captain. They're answering our call." Elena smiled faintly. Took them long enough. When the Council armadas emerged from hyperspace, the sight silenced even the stars. Thousands of ships from 100 species lined up beside the humans, shimmering, scarred, and terrified. For the first time in history, the galaxy stood united. The Chancellor's voice came through the channel. "Human command, this is the Galaxy Council. We stand with you." Elena nodded. "Then stand ready. Once this begins, there's no retreat." The darkness moved. The harvesters accelerated. The scanners screamed warnings. Then, without a sound, the swarm struck. Beams of energy hotter than suns ripped across space. Entire Council ships vanished in a single hit. Human vessels answered with blinding plasma and graviton lances, weapons that bent the laws of physics themselves. The battle became chaos. Ships exploded like fireworks. Metal burned. Bodies fell. And still the swarm came. For every harvester destroyed, 10 more appeared. Admiral Karen's fleet was collapsing. "We can't hold them," he shouted. Elena's voice cut through the static. "You can. You will. Fall back to Formation Alpha 9. Her hands trembled, but her eyes stayed firm. Then came the moment that changed everything. From deep inside human space, a signal pulsed. Strong, rhythmic, ancient. "Captain," said her communications officer, "it's from Earth." Elena's face froze. "Earth?" The signal grew louder, carrying old human words, a voice message from centuries past. "For every world that falls, we will rise again. We are the children of chaos. We are humanity." The AI within the fleet recognized the signal and unlocked its final command. All across the human armada, dormant cores began to ignite. The ships glowed white-hot, merging their energy fields into a single colossal shield that spanned thousands of kilometers. "Activate the Arc Protocol," Elena ordered. The Solar Dawn surged forward, leading the charge. The Harvester swarm crashed into the barrier, but for the first time they stopped. Energy rippled across the field, bending, crushing, reflecting their attack back toward them. Council ships regrouped behind the shield, firing every weapon they had. The void turned to light. The swarm screamed, not with sound, but with distortion, collapsing in on itself. One by one, the Harvesters began to die. When it was over, nothing moved. Only drifting wreckage and a sky filled with glowing blue light. Hours later, silence returned. The human fleet was torn and burning, but alive. The Chancellor's message came through. "Captain Ward, you saved us all." Elena's voice was tired but steady. "No, we saved ourselves. Together." She looked out into the endless stars, the same stars that once watched humanity suffer and rise again. "Let them remember this day," she whispered. "The day the galaxy trembled. Not because of us, but because we refused to fall." The camera pulled back. Thousands of ships floating above the shining blue barrier, victorious yet solemn. The galaxy was safe, for now. Because beyond the farthest stars in the quiet dark, something else was watching.